Welcome to week 9. I got Lobo waving here in a GIF. So let me hit stop. And what I did is I started with the regular Lobo image at the very bottom, hit remove background. Then you have to clean up the area behind the hand, or clone or replace. Maybe better than clean up. So I got rid of the arm and filled in grass behind it. And then I got the arm by itself. I brought it back by itself though, right? Just kind of the arm there. And then I repositioned the arm in up, down, and middle positions using the puppet warp tool. So the middle is the original position. Then I went down, like it's waving down, dropping the hand down a little, and then the up, which is higher than the middle. So, excuse me. You could do that you only need to do 2 to get some motion, but I don't know, I did 3. So then it's just a matter of creating these frame animations. And it looked all right. I don't know, my elbow is not perfect, or it's not super natural, but I could redo it. I don't know, I'm happy it gets the point across where you're making a little animation to capture people's attention. So here it is on the browser. So get it downloaded. It's just one image, Lobo right here. Get it downloaded onto your desktop and loaded in Photoshop. Download button from Google Drive. Drag it to the desktop. And get it open in Photoshop. Drag it onto Photoshop, control click, open with Photoshop. I'm gonna go to Window, Workspace, Essentials, and Reset Essentials so my screen looks like yours. Let's hit Command 0 to make Lobo fit on the screen, and then double click on the Color tab, double click on the Properties tab or panel, and drag the lock to the trash. Okay, so I said first I started with getting a layer mask, removing the background. And, you know, this isn't perfect. You want to pay attention to kind of the motion area. And there's a little green like in the fingers and a little green up there. I guess we could be perfectionists and clean it up. So if you go to Properties and then you can just watch or do this, but select and mask. So I'm targeting the mask in the Properties panel. There's an image and a mask icon at the top. And then select and mask puts you in this select and mask mode. Changes the tools and the panel on the right. And then with this refine edge brush tool, you can come in with your brush really small, so left and right bracket to change your brush size. And you don't want to do any more than you have to, so I'm just going to do a little drag around there, and that cleans up most of it. Maybe a little drag on the fingers and a little drag in between there. And then let's get this spot to, okay. So there's a little green highlight on the edge, but it's gonna look okay because it stays on the grass so you don't notice it. So I don't know. And that's how you clean up the mask. You don't have to do this, but just if you wanna check out the select and mask refine edge feature. Okay, so that changed how our image looks. We don't need this mask right now, so I am going to shift click on it to disable it, put a red X through it, and then I'm gonna jump or copy. I'm gonna double click to collapse the properties panel, and then I'm gonna Command J jump my my Lobo to a new layer. And now I'm going to get the lasso tool and kind of carefully draw the selection around the area I want to animate. So so here I came in and this is the spot you have to be the most careful in right here. So click and start dragging, and under the ear, and then give yourself a little room around the back, and then underneath a little bit and back out, and then around the arm. Just be careful not to get the fingers cut off. Okay, so that's the lasso tool I'm using, the third tool down. And then we can jump the selected pixels to a new layer. So I can Command J, jump the selected pixels to a new layer. If I Option click on the eyeball, it shows me what I just selected. And then if I Option click again, let me leave it off here. So I actually do want the layer mask here. So I'm gonna click and drag up. Sorry, I'm gonna hold Option and drag up to, Command Z. So if I hold Option and then drag up, I get a double pointed cursor head and arrowhead cursor, black and white, and then drop it on. And so that removes, right? So you know how we spent a little extra time getting rid of the finger green and the green up there. So now we got the arm on an independent layer. We don't need this layer mask, so I'm gonna drag this layer mask to the trash. Delete it, apply. Oop, I don't want to apply it. I want to delete the layer mask and just go delete. Okay, so now I basically have my starting image, and I want to make this, I'm going to eyeball off the top layer and make this image the image I use to replace the background or clone the background grass inside of that arm area with the clone stamp tool. So let me get the clone stamp tool, which is the stamp right here, clone stamp tool. And this tool's tricky to use. So the way it works, you set your brush with like a 90-something% hardness. If you do 100%, then you kind of get more visible edges, which you don't want, but no one's really going to notice. And so right bracket to increase the brush size, then you Option click and you get a little crosshairs and you click on some good grass, and then you move over like the hand. And I used a little bigger brush, right bracket, so just try and get rid of all the fingers, right? And so what it does is it takes that source where you Option clicked and puts it over the target area. So Option click on a good source and put it over the arm. And it does get like a repeating pattern. So let's see, let's get rid of this finger. I'm going to use left bracket and then Option click just to get rid of that finger over here. And then come back here, start working my way kind of outside in towards the body. So Option click on a good spot, right bracket to make my brush bigger, and then start making sure I don't get rid of the body. Being a little more careful. And let's see, now I'm going to Option click in the middle here and work my way up, left bracket, and get rid of the rest of this area. Make my brush even smaller and kind of get all the way up into that ear without getting the ear. So Option click to set the source. That last little left bracket, make it smaller. Option click. I could zoom in, but okay, that's pretty good, right? So let's see how it looks now. The arm, if I turn it back on with the eyeball for the layer above. Okay, so now there is, if you look, it's a little smudgy, right? You see like these edges, so that's what you want to avoid. And if you are perfectionist, you could come in here with the spot healing brush and then kind of paint along those repeating patterns or edges that you notice. But you're probably going to be the only one who notices it because you're the one who drew them. So this will kind of blend some of those edges together, heal, as the tool implies, the spot healing brush. Okay, so one more try, turn it back on. Okay, I'm happy. So let's zoom out, Command 0 to 100%, right? So now no one's really going to notice the any of those details. Maybe a little under the arm, but that's fine. Okay, so we need the 3 arms in up, down, and middle. So we got this this arm's in middle, but I'm gonna make a new blank layer and then merge visible after I turn off the layer, this layer. So I want just the arm on 2 blank layers so that I can use the puppet warp tool to make an up and down arm. So Command Shift Option E, merge visible, and call this up, and then new layer, new blank layer, turn off up, and merge visible, Command Shift Option E, and rename layer 2 down. And like I said, we have middle, but I guess, I don't know, just to kind of keep things similar, why don't I do that one more time and make a new middle. So new blank layer, Command Shift Option turn off down, Command Shift Option E, and I put it over there, that's fine. I can just drag this one to the trash and call this, double click on layer 3, rename it middle. Okay, now we're ready to animate. So I'm going to turn on Lobo without an arm, and then I can turn off that other original arm I used. And now I got these 3 arm layers, middle, up, and down, and I can use the puppet warp tool. So middle's fine where it is. I'm going to turn it off and make up the up. So I'm going to turn this off. I guess I want the arm to go like kind of up. I don't know. I didn't. Let's just keep going. So I want this off, just the arm, and then puppet warp. It's under edit, but puppet warp. And so with this, oops, I'm targeting the wrong layer. Window, puppet warp. There we go. It's under edit after content aware scale. There's no keyboard shortcut, but what it does is it places I can hit spacebar and then command my middle finger to get a little more zoom. Is it places this mesh, and you can add these mesh points. So I'm going to add a bunch, and be careful not to click and drag. So just tap once, don't click and drag. Tap once, and you start to add these mesh points. And these mesh points, you'll see how it works, but I'm basically freezing the motion at this area. And then I add 2 like joints. So like the elbow might be right about there, and the wrist right about here. And then once you have all these points, so these are anchors that won't move, you can click and drag, and it like it moves the pixels around on screen. So I'm going to move this up a little, like he's raising his arm up. All right, so that's going to be my up. So I'll hit check to apply. And then I'm going to eyeball off up and eyeball on down, and then same puppet warp on, I forgot, nope. So because I'm targeting my layer that's not visible, my command is grayed out. So make sure you target the layer that you want to use the puppet warp tool on. Make sure it's visible, and then same thing, just make sure you don't click and drag. If you click and drag, you kind of move the image. So click once. All right, and then like we did last time, an elbow and a wrist. And I think down doesn't have to go quite as far. So click and drag down a little, and then down a little. Right, I don't know, you could, that's fine. So, right, so if you want to turn them on, let's hit check to apply and see down versus middle. So that's kind of a slow, or just down little, and then up goes way up. All right, so so let's animate it. That's tricky. I know it is tricky, but I think it's kind of cool and it works. So and it lets you see how to animate these still images. Okay, so window, workspace. Let's save it actually. We did a bunch of work. So file, save as, and I can call this like week 9. Enter to save a PSD on our desktop. And now we can go to window, workspace, motion, and I'll do window, workspace, reset motion so it looks like yours. And create frame animation. So we've been creating video timelines, but now we want to create frame animation. And I'm going to double click on histogram to collapse, double click on libraries, and we want our baseline logo with no arm on. And then let's start with the top, the up position. So here's up, logo with the hand up. I'm going to change the duration here to 0.2 seconds. Then I'm going to hit the plus button and change from up to middle. 0.2 looks good. One more, go from up to down, or middle, sorry, to down. So right, so we start up. I'm not going to click on these, but and then back to middle. So from down, we add a frame, the plus button, and then we go back to middle. And that's it. So if I hit play, it should... Looks good. So I'm gonna stop it because that's hard to watch. And I am going to save it, Command S. And then I'm going to do File, Export, Save for Web, Legacy, and do that same GIF export we've been doing. I dropped mine down to 50%. That's kind of a huge size for a GIF, but 50 worked fine. Processed quick. Save. Desktop, week 9. Minimize. Then drag it on the browser. There it is. Stop. You too, stop. Okay, so let's get it on canvas with a reply. Expand the options, upload image, and drag, hit submit, let it flash yellow. And then hopefully no error message when we hit post. And Canvas keeps us from getting motion sickness. All right, so think about images that you can do on your own. You just got to clean up the background and then add your animation. So I hope you had fun with that. Bye.